Shell Oyster House November features are here. Get in the holiday spirit with their Creole cornbread oysters or Creole harvest cobia. It's Half Shell's take on Thanksgiving. Creole cornbread oysters come topped and baked with a homemade cornbread dressing of oysters, shrimp, and crawfish, garnished with tasso ham hollandaise. The Creole harvest cobia comes bronzed with homemade cornbread dressing with oysters, shrimp, and crawfish, topped with a tasso ham hollandaise, served with your choice of side salad or side item. If you're looking for dessert, you'll find it in the peanut butter cup martini or nutta butter old fashioned at Half Shell Oyster House, located at 115 Laurel Park Cove, Suite 105, Flowood, Mississippi, 39232, or you can give us a call at 769-257-7586. And oh yeah, tell them Sonia sent you.
She say sports. She say sports. She say sports. She say sports.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Sonia, and welcome back to She Say Sports. Today I have with me head coach of the FAMU Rattlers, Coach Willie Simmons. Hey Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Ms. Stamps. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for joining the show today.
It's my pleasure.
Tell the listeners a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a country boy from Quincy, Florida, which is a small town just west of Tallahassee. I grew up. My two older sisters and my mom. My dad passed away when I was 6 years old, unfortunately. And so raised by my mom, started playing sports at an early age, football, basketball, and baseball. And of course, my football prowess took me to Clemson University, where I played quarterback there for 4 years and got my degree in sports marketing. Left there and transferred to the Citadel for my final year of eligibility. Played there, was an all-conference quarterback in the Southern Conference. Played one season of arena football up in Sioux City, Iowa, before I came back to Tallahassee and started coaching. Coached high school football here for a year before I went back to my alma mater as a graduate assistant. And my coaching career took off from there, from 5 years at Middle Tennessee State as an assistant, then offensive coordinator, 3 years at Alcorn State as the offensive coordinator. Then I got my first head coaching opportunity in 2015 at Prairie View A&M. I had 3 successful seasons there before I was called home to FAMU, and I've been here since 2018. This is our 3rd season playing. Obviously, we didn't compete in 2020 because of COVID-19, and doing really well. Have a beautiful family, wife of 8 years this December, and between the two of us, we have 6 amazing children, ranging from age 23 all the way down to 1, believe it or not.
Wow.
We have a full gamut, keeps us busy, but we're extremely blessed. We're both from this area, grew up together here in Quincy.
So y'all grew up together, okay.
Grew up together. She's a Rattler. She graduated, she's a 4th generation Rattler, has her master's degree from here and is currently working on her PhD from FAMU. So soon she'll be Dr. Simmons. But again, just extremely blessed to coach a phenomenal group of young men every day at an institution that prides itself on developing young men and women to be great. And again, I'm a product of a Rattler. My mom was the first of 5 in her family to attend Florida A&M. And so this place has meant a lot to me my entire life. My godmother is a graduate, god brother, cousins, you name it. Everyone that I know who graduated college basically went to FAMU. And so this is a place that has meant a lot to me, and to be able to lead this program now as the head coach is really one of the highlights of my life. So extremely blessed and definitely thankful to be here this evening.
That's awesome. That is real. That's some good information. Yeah, I mean, you come from a line of Rattlers, but I'm gonna get to that, about this Clemson thing shortly. So Coach, you mentioned earlier, you guys didn't play during the pandemic, and during the pandemic, the earlier part, SWAC Commissioner Dr. Charles McKellen, he announced that 2 teams from the MEAC were coming to the SWAC, which was FAMU and Bethune-Cookman. And both of these schools are in Florida, and you all are each other's biggest rivals. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So when you first received the news that you guys were going to the SWAC, what was your initial response?
Well, I was excited. Obviously, I spent 6 years in the SWAC as, like I said, a coordinator at Alcorn State, and then 3 years as the head coach at Prairie View A&M. So I'm all familiar with the pageantry, with the game day atmosphere, with the bands, the trash talking, everything
Right.
that makes the SWAC what it is. And really for a long time, growing up here and knowing FAMU's history here in the MEAC, we've always kind of felt like our footprint was more similar to the SWAC as far as how much we care about football and sports in general. We talk about it all the time. We brag different, again, I stay in the brag stadium. And so we have our fair share of trash talkers as well. And, the MEAC just, I don't know if they were ready, for our, braggadocious personalities. And so we fit in perfectly with the SWAC.
Right.
If you look at the chat boards, it's been nonstop ever since the announcement.
Crazy.
And even to this day, people pulling, I saw one yesterday, someone that pulled up a post from January, and talking about how we weren't going to win any games. So it makes it all a part of, again, what makes this conference what it is. I truly believe it's one of the best conferences in college football because of the relationships, because of the rivalries that are here that we're part of. And we're just excited to be a part of this amazing conference.
That's awesome. You mentioned the chat boards. They give Bethune and FAMU heck every day. They like they're hazing them. And it was just, I don't know. I'd be like, why are they giving them so much problem? I don't get it. I mean, I don't know. I enjoy everybody, well, except when y'all play Jackson State. So, but until then, I'm cool with it. Well, not Alcorn and Southern. I hate them. So hi y'all. So, but other than that, I'm cool. So how has it been for the Rattlers? The transition for them? How's it been for them?
It's been really well. I think the reception has been amazing. Dr. McClellan really rolled out the red carpet for us. He was here for the announcement, July 1. And just a lot of great things happening within the conference, here at the university. And so it really is a perfect marriage for us, we believe. I mean, you look at the games we've had so far this year. Alabama State was a longtime rival of ours, dating back to our days as Division II opponents. So now that we get to play that game every year, a home and home, against Southern, obviously we know what type of atmosphere is going to be when FAMU and Southern collide on the football field. Jackson State, we saw what Miami was even in bad weather and coming off a pandemic. And so I can only imagine what that rivalry would grow into in the years to come. And the list goes on and on, so again, it's been amazing. It's been phenomenal for us. We're excited to be, in the thick of the conference race. We're playing really good football right now and trying to continue to do so. But we know every week is going to be a dogfight, and that's what makes this conference what it is, regardless of records, regardless of what's happened in prior weeks. You have to come ready to play. And I think we've all seen that at some point this season, that, you face a team that hasn't won a game or maybe won 1 or 2 games, and you find yourself in a dogfight. We know what that's like. Jackson knows what that's like. Prairie View, the top teams in this conference, all know what that's like. But I think that speaks to the strength of our conference from top to bottom.
That's true. And, you mentioned like the teams who have not been, like, they may not have the number as far as the record, but they are really good teams. Valley is, y'all better watch out. They are a really good team. And it's just, I'm excited about the whole conference. Like this, the teams are like when I was at Jackson State back in the early 90s. And so I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the dog fights. It makes me nervous. And we're going to talk about when we met you guys in Miami, that my heart almost stopped a couple of times. So we'll talk about that. But Coach, before leaving the MEAC, the Rattlers was the winningest team in the MEAC and the only HBCU to win a Division I national championship. Is it your goal to bring that same winning tradition and energy to dominate the SWAC?
Well, yeah, it really is. For us, we pride ourselves on we call ourselves the school of first. You look at our history, not just on the field of competition, but, in the classroom, politically, in the private sector. We're a school that's blazed a lot of trails, particularly for African Americans. And so, we're excited about what we can be. We're excited about the direction of this conference. And we think together, it can be a perfect marriage. Again, with the direction the conference is going in under Dr. McClellan's leadership, with the exposure that guys like Coach Prime have brought to Black college football, the SWAC in particular, the fact that we're playing on TV more than we ever have in the past. High-profile student athletes are now seriously considering attending schools like Famu and Jackson State, and Grambling and the likes. And so it's just bringing a lot of much-needed positive publicity. Growing up here around FAMU and following Black college football, most of the stuff you saw was negative. Whenever you saw headlines about Black college, it was negative. Penalties or sanctions or APR, or, you name it. But now, there are great things happening at these institutions and within these conferences. And I'm just excited to be a part of it. And I can't wait to see what the future holds for us.
I totally agree. You mentioned about us being on TV quite a bit. When I was in the press box, Miami game, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at us on ESPN and then Grambling and Tennessee State on NFL Network. That has never happened before. And I know, a lot of people give Prime flack, we was doing this before he came. No, not on this scale. And he's helping not only Jackson State, but the whole SWAC and HBCU schools, period, because we're getting more attention now. You go into Walmart and JCPenney's, I've never seen Jackson State Para, and now I'm seeing it. And I'm like, I'm not going to buy it from there. I'm going to still buy it from the Black vendors because that's who I've always bought it from. And now you're getting on the bandwagon because of it's popular. But you're absolutely right. I'm excited about 4- and 5-star kids coming to our schools now. They see they can get the publicity. I mean, because a lot of them didn't think, no one want to look at me, and now they know that's not true. So, Coach, you guys have made yourselves at home for sure. The Rattlers. You have a 5-1 conference play record and a 7-2 overall record, holding strong with the second place in the East behind Jackson State Tigers. Your team had a huge win on Saturday, huge win against Southern University in Baton Rouge. And, that's a hostile environment. Mumford is nothing to play with. So how did the kids, your team, how did they feel winning that game? I mean, because, everybody, like I said, in those chat rooms, they giving them flack, but they beat Southern. So what was that like for them in the locker room after the game?
Well, it was very exciting. Our guys have heard about the conference. I talked to them about it. We have other coaches on the staff who've been a part of this conference for years. And so we talked about the atmosphere, the environments. Most of our guys remember what the Southern game was like in 2019, when they came here. And so we told them on Sunday of that week. This game last Saturday was a game that Southern fans have been waiting on for 2 years. Ever since they left Tallahassee in 2019, they had been talking about us returning to Baton Rouge, because they felt they got robbed, of a game when they came here in 19. And so just, being able to go into a hostile environment, being able to go out and play, be down and then take a lead at halftime. Defensively, we've been playing lights out defense all season, but they were able to get some things going in the first half and score some points. And from the second quarter on, we held them to 3 points. And so again, just to have that type of showing in an environment like Mumford Stadium against a strong Southern Jaguar football team, it was a great feeling. We are enjoying this winning streak that we're on. The guys are really believing in what we're doing. They're playing for one another, and that's what this thing is all about. You really, as a coach, you feel good when you see the pieces really start to come together, and that's what I think this football team understands now, how good we can be. And after that first game, we had to do some soul searching. There was a lot of expectations. The SWAC championship was something that we, talked about, enough. And when you go down first game, you're now chasing a team that in the back of your mind is probably good enough to run the table. It can put an 18 to 23-year-old in a very, very compromising position. And so I commend this group of guys for just continuing to believing in the process. And they've done that. They played together. They played for this university. and we find ourselves still in the thick of this thing, and who knows what'll happen. But whether it's SWAC championship game or FCS playoffs, we feel we built the resume strong enough to be considered as one of the top teams in all of FCS.
Absolutely. And, you know, as bad as I wanted Southern to lose, I needed y'all to lose so we can clinch the East, but that did not happen. So congrats. So speaking of JSU, we started off the season against you guys, as I mentioned earlier, in Miami. We won that game by 1 point, 7-6, with JSU leading the series against the Rattlers. Do you believe that the Orange Blossom Classic will be a must-see game for years to come because of what happened this past September?
Yeah, I definitely think it will be, particularly if these two institutions are playing every year. I think, you know, Coach Prime would echo my sentiment. It's not ideal that, you know, you start the season against a team as strong as Jackson State, and in their opinion, a team as strong as FAMU.
Right.
You know, we knew when Coach Prime and I talked before the game at midfield that the winner of this game probably was going to win the conference, more than likely, you know, because again, the strength of our rosters, you know, the quality of coaching that we have, our home field advantages that we both share. There are a lot of similarities between the two institutions. And so, you know, there was a lot riding on that game. And so it's a huge game for, you know, the city of Miami, Miami Gardens, South Florida. But it's a pivotal game in the overall SWAC race, right? And so there are not many schools across the country that open the season with that magnitude of a game, you know, off the bat. And so it's a great game for the fans. It's a great game for the city of Miami. I probably prefer to play Jackson State a little later in the season when we have a chance to really get our feet wet and see what type of football team we're going to be. But it was an amazing football game, hard fought. You know, it was everything that it was built to be. Great viewership. Both the Orange Blossom Committee did a phenomenal job of putting on events for the guys. And it was great to start the season that way. Again, unfortunately for us, we came up on the short end, but again, we've since then played really good football, and happy to see what Coach Prime is doing there at Jackson State. I'm a fan. You know, we're competitors, but again, we support one another, and I support all the coaches because again, I understand the sacrifices that they make to be able to do what they do. And so I know he's caught some criticism because of, you know, how he's gone about his business and the things that he's done and said. But again, I think you got to be tone deaf to not recognize the platform that he has, you know, being one of the best football players to ever play the sport. Absolutely. You know, a recognizable name and a guy that's well connected who can say some of the things that he can say that people will listen to, right? We've all felt it. We've all said it behind closed doors. Some of us have even said it publicly, but they're not going to listen to us the same way they listen to Coach Prime because again, who he is. And so, hey, kudos to him. You know, we wish him the best. We know he's battling some health issues right now, and we definitely, have he and his family in our prayers, and you know, we've been in contact, and I think he's on the other side of it now, thankfully. But again, just, you know, it's good for the exposure that he's brought. But I think it's the perfect storm. I think everything has come together at the right time. You know, all the stuff that happened in 2020 with the social injustices, and you know, just this renewed interest in HBCUs as a whole, not just from the athletic front, but you know, fundraising and academia and all the things that go into these institutions. Again, it's just become the perfect storm, and I really think HBCUs are about to reach a level that we have not seen in a long time.
You're right. You're absolutely right. You mentioned about the social injustices and everything last year. It's funny, on my show, I was still, and I know that's your buddy, Mike Prince, I was still on his platform under open mic at that time. And I had Jamie and Spencer and Cedric Donaldson. They're on my show once a month. They're former NFL players. And we discussed the NFL, you know, the week, whatever week it is. But I told them back in March, I think of last year, I was like, it's time for our guys to come back home. Not just the guy and women too, but we were talking about football. And I was like, it's, you know, we appreciate our own. I'm not saying other schools do not. I'm not saying that. However, I know how I went to a SWAC school and I've gone to a PWI. I have my master's from there, but I know how it is. And everything, especially after George Floyd, it started rolling, and they started it's like their eyes were open. Not, and I'm not saying those are not great institutions, but I know how we love our people and our kids, and it's different. And I'm glad, I'm glad the exodus is happening. You mentioned the fan base. Last year when we first got the schedule, Jackson State and FAMU, we are fan base is very, very loyal. And I mean, we immediately started getting rooms, plane tickets last year before, and the pandemic was still like, we didn't even have a what you call it, a vaccination. So we were just hoping and praying that everything would be okay. So how important is it for the fan base to travel, not only travel, but even come home to home games? What does that do for you guys?
Well, it's important on many fronts. One, just talk about the financial impact that it has for our programs.
Right.
I mean, athletics on most college campuses are self-sustaining. We have to raise the money that support us, right? The school can't cut us a $5 million check to make up any deficits that we might have, right?
Right.
The state of Florida prevents that. So we have to base our revenue off ticket sales, off of sponsorships and things of that nature. And so it's very important that people buy tickets, right? That you buy tickets to our games, that you don't try to get in for free, that you don't try to get the hookup, that you actually buy tickets, because those dollars that go to those ticket sales go into the program. And we want to win, right? I think if you look at college football, if you look at the top 25 at any level, whether it be FBS or FCS, the teams that are typically in the top 25 are the teams that typically have the largest athletic budgets, right? I mean, it goes hand in hand, right? We all want to have facilities. We all want to be able to provide these young men with the things that they need to be successful. And so it helps you develop a better football team, but it also helps you recruit. And so all of us, I know I saw where Jackson State had 200 recruits for homecoming. Right, we capped ours at 50 recruits because obviously we don't have a 60,000 seat stadium, but we capped ours at 50. But 200 recruits got to see almost 60,000 people, if not more, pack Memorial Stadium. That's impressive to a prospective student athlete. 50 plus student athletes got to see 30 plus thousand people pack Grant Memorial Stadium for homecoming. Well, when they leave here and they go to other schools and see other games, the atmosphere that they felt here or at Jackson State will resonate. So when it comes time to making that decision, they'll say, man, I want to play in front of crowds like that, right? I want to play with a loyal fan base that's going to travel, that I know that every game I go to, we're going to be supported, that, those things drive TV sponsorships. Again, we're all trying to fight to be on TV. Well, guess what? ESPN wants to put games on that they know will generate viewership. Right. So we show that we're committed, that we're loyal to our football programs and basketball and other sports. That will give ESPN more of an incentive to put us on TV, right? And so there's a reason that Jackson State played on TV a lot this past spring. Well, they knew the impact that Coach Prime will have on that institution. If we're a really good football team, our fan base is loyal, they want to see FAMU on TV. And so it helps in so many different ways. It's free advertising. Again, we're all talking about building our academic programs. What better way to do that than to play on television? Because now you get to be seen nationwide, worldwide. There's a student in Walla Walla, Washington, who is looking for a business program where they can feel like they're at home. Well, guess what? They see FAMU on TV, they hear about FAMU School of Business and Industry, and all of a sudden they say, well, let me take a deeper look at FAMU. It's an HBCU. I hear they have a good business school now. And they look at it and they see we have one of the top business schools in America. It makes that kid from Washington want to come to FAMU. That's the type of impact that, fans have, repping your school has, talking positively about our institutions. And again, I think we're starting to see that more and more now. And it's all part of that overall puzzle, a piece that we call, college athletics, because truth be told, it is one of the biggest in this country. That we love our college athletics, particularly football here in the South. And so, we're the front porch to most institutions, and we feel the responsibility of representing our institution in a first-class manner.
That is true. And I know this fan right here, I'm tired. I mean, I've been everywhere this season because I missed, we missed football so much. I was there during the spring season, but it wasn't the same. But I'm a little worn, and I'm like, I'm I watched today. I mean, it's just stuff that I'm not doing because I'm always at a game. So, but it's fine. I'm excited about it. It's especially, especially since we're winning. So it's a good thing. But you're right. Fan base is very important. The money we need it. Even season tickets. Our season tickets don't cost like SEC season tickets. We spend $100 on lunch and dinner in one day, or probably just dinner. So even if you don't make all the games, just buy the tickets. So, support the athletic department. Just support the team. Just buy the tickets and be blessed and move on. So, that's one thing. We don't give back like PWIs do. So we have to give back where we can, and that's definitely one way, supporting the teams. Coach, I'm gonna go back to Bethune. I mentioned them earlier. How did it feel for you, even though that's your Florida rival, but them are your brothers, and we all the SWAC team schools are your brothers, but how did it feel for you to win their first game in the SWAC against a heavy hitter like Alcorn on Saturday?
Well, again, I know they were excited to get that monkey off their backs.
Yes.
Right. Again, when you enter a new conference, and obviously, they didn't talk maybe as much as we did about what we were going to do, but I know they're a very loyal fan base, and they've become accustomed to winning as well. And so when you have the season that they've had, and you lost a lot of really, really close games, it feels great to get that monkey off your back, and again, especially to do it against a team like Alcorn, who's been really the class of the SWAC over the last 7 years. And so, again, like you said, we're rivals. In football, we're rivals once a year, right? But the other 360, 64 days, we support one another, right? We are the two prominent HBCUs in the state of Florida. And so, our success is their success is our success. Exactly. And I know you guys feel the same way about Alcorn and Mississippi Valley. And so, it hurts, it hurts to see them struggle. Yeah. Right. And so, I know Coach Sims. I have a ton of respect for him as a person, as a football coach. Obviously, he's beat me 2 years. And so we have to try to change that here next week. But again, just I want every team in the conference to grow. I want us all to because again, we don't get the respect that we deserve on a national level. We're all, you look at it right now, Jackson is 8-1, and they're ranked, I think, 16th in the nation right now. Mm-hmm. Prairie View sitting there at 7-1. They just cracked the top 25 at 24. And we're on the outside looking in at about 29, but there are 4 lost teams that are ranked higher than us. Mm-hmm. And so it's like they don't respect the level of play or the coaching or whatever it is about HBCUs. And I think that's definitely something that needs to change. And so the stronger our conferences are from top to bottom, the opportunities of our teams to go outside of the SWAC and play other LCS teams and have great showings and beat them, I think will go a long way in changing that perception. Because again, I played the game at the highest level. I've coached at that level, at the mid-major level, now at the LCS level, and some of the best coaches, some of the best players that I've ever seen and played with or against and coached with or coached against have been right here in the SWAC and in the MEAC. And so, I want us to, again, continue to just grow our conference so everyone respects what we have as institutions athletically and academically.
Absolutely. Speaking of MEAC, what team will you miss playing the most, since it's some teams you guys will not play anymore? What team will you miss playing the most?
Well, for us, it became North Carolina A&T. Mm-hmm. We really developed a nice little rivalry during my first 2 years here. They were the class of HBCU for probably the last 5 years. I think won 4 of the last 5 Celebration Bowls. And so to be able to beat them 2 years in a row, the first year up there, after being down 17-0 and coming back to win the game, and then them coming here the following year, being ranked number 1 in Black college football again, and for us to beat them, it was intense. We had some on the field antics. It became a real rivalry between the two schools. And so, but they left the conference as well. Right. So they left, right before we did, or right around the same time we made the decision to leave. But we'll miss playing them. But again, to pick up Southern, to pick up Jackson, to pick up Alabama State and those teams, I traded every day of the week because, again, just we can't fill Bragg Stadium playing A&T the way we can playing Alabama State or Southern or Jackson, those type of teams. So again, we're just excited about the ability to have great game day atmospheres every single week. That's what we've had so far this year. And again, this is in the midst of a pandemic. So as things get better, I expect it to even grow from here. So every week in the SWAC is going to be a great atmosphere, great environment. And for anyone who's never been to a SWAC game, I definitely encourage you to do so.
Yeah, I feel sorry for them if they haven't, because it's totally different. It's totally different. Coach, I noticed you do something on social media, like probably every day, I guess. But I noticed I love your shoe game. I love your shoe game, Coach. You display it almost like a new pair every day. How did this daily ritual start for you?
Well, it actually started maybe a couple of weeks ago.
So it just started. Okay.
Yeah, it just started, this season. Got blessed, with, and full disclosure, I don't buy shoes. Like I have not bought a pair of tennis shoes in God knows how long. Mm-hmm. Either my wife buys them, she sees something that she might like. My equipment manager, orders something without Nike promo money. Because of the ESPN documentary that we're participating in, I was blessed with a couple of pairs of shoes. And so just over the last couple of years, I've kind of built a decent little collection of shoes. And so I wore a pair and I just propped them up on the desk, took a picture and just, posted it. And the reception was amazing. It was like crazy how many people responded. So I said, okay, well, I got another pair that's nice. I put on the next pair and posted those the next day. And then it just started picking up traction. So I said, well, let me pace myself because I don't have enough to do a different pair every day. So maybe let me just go every other day, or I might I put my boots up there one day. So, but again, it's something that's kind of caught on. I think people are starting to anticipate and expect it now. So it might force me to up my shoe game a little bit more and actually start buying myself shoes because people like to see what Coach Simmons has on his feet these days.
Especially since I mentioned it. So yeah, you're gonna have to start buying some shoes.
I got a few more surprises down the pipe.
Okay, Coach. Okay, I see you.
Gotta make sure I keep my ankles good and lotioned up.
Right, please, because it's wintertime. Please,
our people get critical now.
We get ashy. So, Coach, FAMU football team was featured on the second season of ESPN's documentary, Why Not Us? Congratulations on that. How did you and your team get chosen to be on that team? To be on the documentary?
Well, I think that, Chris Paul and his brother CJ, producers of ODIP Productions, obviously they did season 1 with North Carolina Central's basketball team. Obviously,
that was good.
They both grew up right there, in Winston-Salem. They have a great relationship with Coach Moulton, and it was a great concept, right? They had a great first season. And so when they looked at expanding it, I think them saying, well, let's maybe branch outside of basketball and let's try football. Obviously, Chris talked in the first episode about how he started playing football and how he just grew up watching Winston-Salem State and just understanding the Black college experience with football. And as he started to look across the college landscape, I think FAMU kind of fit everything they were looking for, and so they reached out, to gauge our interest. The moment we had the initial conversation, I was sold. I saw what their vision was of what they were trying to do. I saw some clips of the Central episode first season. And so it was something that I felt would show FAMU in its best light. I was really particular about saying I didn't want to be on a reality TV show. Right. I didn't want a Last Chance U where, we're fabricating stories and, trying to just get something that's good for TV. I wanted authentic stories, authentic storylines. And if they promised to do that, I was on board. And thankfully for us, that's what we've gotten. The reception has been amazing. They're debuting episode 4 this coming Thursday. 4 more episodes to go. And so it's chronicling, the football team through our journey this season. And they have about 5 key storylines of individuals within this team that really show what it's like to be not only a football player in HBCU, but a student at an HBCU, a student athlete. And so these guys have families, they have children, they deal with everyday adversity like we all do, and it's a great depiction of what it looks like to attend one of these institutions, and in particular play athletics, play football. So very excited about it, and hopefully something that they can continue, because I think it's doing a lot to really raise awareness with HBCUs nationally.
I agree. And, Chris Paul mentioned earlier, and I think this was on first season, when he said somebody was like, why now? Why are you, you didn't go to HBCU, so why are you doing this now? He was like, why not?
Right.
And I'm glad that he's given this platform for HBCUs. And when you mentioned North Carolina?
Central, North Carolina Central.
That was a really good one. I enjoyed that one. So Coach, in the documentary, like you mentioned earlier, you're from Quincy, Florida, and you're like 10 minutes from Tallahassee. And you mentioned that pretty much your whole family went to FAMU. How did you end up choosing Clemson over FAMU or any HBCU?
So much like most guys, I think Coach Prime even talked about it either a week or a couple of weeks ago. The reality of it is that HBCUs didn't recruit us, right? I grew up down the road, 20 minutes away. Again, I grew up watching FAMU football games. I was playing high school ball during the Billy Joe era when they were, lighting up scoreboards every week. And so he recruited some of my teammates. I actually had a high school teammate that signed at FAMU. And Billy Joe always took the position that he was really big into transfers way before the transfer portal became the thing to do now. So his recruiting model was recruit transfers. He didn't sign a lot of high school young men. So he didn't really target many high school student athletes. His message for all of us, guys that were quote unquote high profile recruits, was, I know you're going Power 5. If you get there and you're unhappy, you always have a home here at FAMU. So it wasn't recruiting us to sign with FAMU out of high school. It was recruiting us to transfer to FAMU if it didn't work out at the institutions that we signed with. And for many of the guys, that's what ended up happening. So he had a really good track record of attracting really good transfers to FAMU during that time. It just wasn't his recruiting model to go after high profile high school kids. And so, when my recruitment began midway through my junior year, and I looked up and I had offers from multiple Power 5 institutions, at that point, really, that's all we knew. We felt that the only way for us to really achieve the level of success on the football field that we wanted was to attend the Clemson, or Florida State, or University of Florida, and Alabama, and those type schools. And so we just weren't educated enough, quite frankly, on the opportunities that HBCUs provided. And we didn't look down on them, but we just didn't think that, again, for what we ultimately wanted at the time, we felt that that was the case. And then for me personally, just full transparency, Gadsden County, the county that I grew up in, is the only predominantly Black county in the state of Florida. Of 67 counties, we're the only one where we're the majority. And so I went to grade school with all Blacks. So I really wanted to go away from that.
You wanted something different.
I needed something different. And so PWI was probably best for me, because I needed to see a world outside of Quincy, right? I wasn't exposed to a whole lot. Most of my classmates weren't exposed. Coming to Tallahassee was the big city for us, was Tallahassee, right? We didn't know anything about the world outside of this. And so it really opened my eyes to go to a place where I was the minority. I never really faced racism until I got to college. Overt racism. I was shielded from it, protected from it growing up in Quincy. So just seeing the way the world kind of worked really was good for me, was eye-opening for me. And so again, I really want, high school prospective student athletes to really, really consider HBCUs, but understanding that, one, it's not for everyone, right?
It's not for everyone.
There are opportunities across the United States, and there's not a one-size-fits-all model when it comes to recruiting. First and foremost, there's not enough of us to sign all the big time football anyway, because there are way more football players than the 30 Division I football programs. And so, there's enough to go around that a fair share can come to HBCUs, a fair share can go to PWIs, and we can all enjoy this thing called, college football. And we just want our fair shake, our fair slice of the pie. When it comes to the
Absolutely.
TV revenue, when it comes to the opportunities that our young men are afforded, that's why we think it's important to start attracting them back to our HBCUs, because the powers that be, if they see that, then it makes them want
Changes will make.
right. And so I think that's really what we're saying. I don't want anyone to think that we're saying, don't go to an HBCU, I mean, don't go to a PWI.
No.
It's bad for you. We're not saying that. What we're saying is, if you consider everything you want, and that's my recruiting pitch, everything you want to achieve as an athlete, as a student, you can accomplish right here at FAMU. You really can. Now, I have to go into detail about how we can make that happen, but the reality of it is you can still do those same things that you can do at a PWI right here at FAMU in an environment where you're, like you said earlier, more embraced, more protected, around your own people. So if for some people, that's what they need. For many of us, that's what we need. For some, like I was growing up, I needed something different, but I never lost my HBCU roots because I knew that's what developed my family. So, saying all that to say, I think is enough for everyone.
And, and like you said, let me reiterate, I'm not against PWIs. That's not what I'm saying. I know I have a friend, her son graduated from high school maybe 3 years ago, and she went to Jackson State, but her whole idea was he was not even going to visit. I'm like, you're not going to even let him have an HBCU as an option. That's what bothers me.
Right.
That bothers me so bad, because it's like, so you got your 6-figure job by going to a HBCU, but now you won't even allow your son to visit. And he don't have to go to Jackson State. At least give them options to see HBCU schools. Go on tours. Don't just go to PWIs because you want him to just make it, in the football. I don't know. That bothers me. I totally agree.
My one regret throughout the entire recruiting process, I took all 5 visits. If I had to do it all over again, my 5th visit would have been to FAMU. I would have visited FAMU officially to just get the experience and see what it's like. And so, like you said, I think we have to get out of that mindset that the only way we can make it is if we go to a PWI. Like that's where we got lost a long time ago.
Yep.
We that message started to really, kind of permeate throughout our community that we can't be successful if we don't go to a PWI. Well, that's false, and that's been
false. That's totally false.
I would encourage if you're going to take 5 visits, I would say if you really, because most of us really know, we've kind of narrowed it down.
Where you going to go? Right.
1 or 2 schools, maybe 3. So take all 5. I encourage people, take all 5. They give you 5, take 5. They're free paid visits. You get to go hang out, do stuff for free. Make one of those 5 an HBCU, right? Yeah. Visit a FAMU, visit a Jackson State, visit a Southern or Grambling or A&T or Howard, and just see the culture, see what we're all about. And maybe there's something there that will resonate with you, that make you say, you know what, this is what I need. Because at the end of the day, it's about going to the place where you need what they can provide for you. And you can't see that unless you visit it. So again, anyone listening, if you're going to take all 5 visits, I would encourage you to at least take 1 to an HBCU.
I totally agree. So, so Coach, you like you said, and I'm glad you did get away, because maybe you needed that to be well-rounded. But how does it feel to be back in your community and instilling what you learned in these students and in your community? How does it feel?
Well, it feels, it's humbling to me, because I grew up here, right? Today I had an opportunity to go to a golf tournament. I didn't participate. I don't play golf, but I went, FCA golf tournament honoring Bobby Bowden. So it was a Florida State golf tournament, but of course you have 2 major institutions here. So as I was riding around with my good buddy, saw one of the gentlemen, and he said, "Coach, I'm so appreciative of what you do for this community." Because I try my best to do a lot for this community in a form of servitude, right? And so then it really was humbling for me to hear a white guy say that to me. And my response was simply, I'm from this community, right? This is my community. I grew up here. And so I have to do these things, because if I don't invest in my community, who will? And so I don't do it for gratitude. I don't do it for anything other than the fact that it's needed. More of us that have influence need to be seen, need to be vocal. These young people need to hear from us. we need to hear from them. We're really in the thick of a huge anti-gun violence push here in the capital city of Florida. It's taking way too many lives. And I take time out of my day every week to go to local middle and high schools to talk to the young children about, the gun violence going on in our capital city. And so it means something to those kids to see the head football coach at FAMU. It means something to see prominent attorneys and media personalities and people like that, because they feel that we don't care. They feel we're kind of separated from them in their own little silo on the south side of town, that nobody cares. And so for us to go into the schools, to go into the neighborhoods, to talk to the individuals and really hear from them, not just talk at them, but have real dialogue, I think is what's going to change our communities for the better. And I encourage anyone who has the time or just has that feeling that they can do more. Hey, just go talk to these young kids and these young people and really see what they feel they need and see if we can provide that in some type of capacity. And I think that's how we'll ultimately change our communities for the better.
I totally agree. And that's, I'm glad that you said that. It's been a lot of killings going on in Jackson as well. And last month, I believe, Coach Prime, he does a lot of motivational things in the morning. And he mentioned that he told his players, you can't be an athlete and a gangster or in the street. You can't do both. Right. You have to make a decision. And so, and I'm gonna get to that because I want to talk about Bishop Bonnet. But I'll go ahead and get to it now. Him and Marquise Bell, they were featured on the show, and they really got my attention, especially Bishop. Bishop said that he wanted to get out the streets. He didn't want that life. And I thought about what Coach said, because you have to make a decision. You can't do both. It's a lot like, even like with rappers and stuff, most of those people that's not their lifestyle. They're rapping about something that they don't even know anything about personally. Now, like, I forgot, what's the boy name? He sings Trap Queen, not saying rap, whatever his name is. He's getting ready to go to jail for life because he did some stuff dealing with drugs and some stuff. He may be gone for life now because you want to still live that life. You got to let that crap go. I mean, especially if that's not who you really are. So tell me about Bishop. And I want to get this point out first. You had on this shirt and it had FAMU Lee. And I love the play on words. How true is that for your team and the coaches? How much of a family are you guys?
Well, it's paramount to our success here, not just on the football field, but in life. Again, like you said, we spell it FAMULY because of the acronym FAMU, but it speaks to what this institution is here for. Right. It's here to build a community of people that bond, that share, a common, just kinship with one another, who want to see each other be successful, much like a family. And that's what we're trying to build here within this football program is a group of guys who genuinely love one another, right? Mm-hmm. We are part of a culture where it's taboo for men to say, I love you to another man, mm-hmm. right? Because of all the stigmas and all the other things that are going on right now. Right. But we really want to create a culture here where it's okay, where it's perfectly fine to say, hey, I love you, and mean it, right? And be completely vulnerable, right? If I need to cry, I can cry in front of my brother. If I'm having a bad day, it's okay for me to talk about that bad day. If mm-hmm. I have some huge success, that I can share that with my family. And that's what we talk about here. So when we break it down on family, when we put it on our shirts, we mean it, right? And so guys like Bishop Bonnet, Bishop has been very open and candid about how he was raised in Jacksonville, Florida, mm-hmm. Growing up, on the block, and easily being able to turn to that lifestyle, right? Marquise Bell grew up in New Jersey, on the south side of New Jersey. Could have easily been influenced by the streets, but thankfully for them, they found sports, and sports pulled them out of that world. Like you said, we can't serve two masters. And so they made a choice to go and try to do something for themselves. They found themselves at FAMU in completely different circumstances, but they both greatly benefited from their experiences here. Bishop has 2 degrees from FAMU. You know, he's doing extremely well on the football field. He's made a name for himself. Every Rattler knows Bishop Bonnet. They love him. I mean, when the announcer says, "Can the Bishop get 30,000 people saying amen?" You know, and it's just amazing to see the reception that he's gotten. And then Marquise Bell has come in, transferred in, and has become, you know, the face of our program in the form of a guy that we all know will play NFL football, you know, in this next season. And so just
you say he's gonna play in
he would definitely play NFL. He'll be a high draft pick, you know. And so the exposure that he's gotten, but the growth that he's made, both those young men have made during their time here at FAMU, is really inspiring, and it's a story that I'm glad people get to see, because it really speaks to what HBCUs can do for these young men. And so it's just, you know, that word family means everything to me, because I grew up in a large family. My mom was the oldest of 9. My dad was the youngest boy of 10. Wow. And so, you know, I grew up in a family where, you know, that's just who we are. And so every football team says they want to be close. Every football team says family, right? But actions speak louder than the words. And so the devotionals that you see our football team have, those are real moments. We allow ESPN to be in those moments, but that's the most intimate times that we have as a team, because a young man is getting up and he's sharing his story. And oftentimes we play football together, we're in these locker rooms, and I never know the guy beside me. Like, I never know what he's gone through. I don't know where he's from. I don't know what got him here. I just know he's a good football player and I want to win with him. But until I truly know who he is, I can't say he's my brother. And that's what we're trying to build here. We're trying to build a true brotherhood where our guys genuinely know about one another, so they can care about one another, and we can truly become the closest football team in America.
You know, I'm glad you said that, because I love how you allowed a safe place for those young men. What's amazing to me, men don't really talk, especially, and a lot of Black men don't talk, especially. How did you get them to even want to talk? And I mean, sharing bad times, even sharing good news. Sometimes men don't even want to share good news. They just don't talk. And you've allowed them a safe place to communicate their feelings. How did that come about?
Well, we did it by example. You know, I start the first one, you know, and the first devotion we have all season is always me. You know, so I open myself up to these young men. I talk about my most vulnerable moments. I strip myself down to nothing. So they see that, hey, this is my head football coach, but this is a guy who's overcome a lot of adversity in his life. Yeah. This is a guy who's lived life and seen a lot of things. So when I talk to them about adversity, I'm not just, like I would never ask you to do anything that I won't do myself. Right. And so when I talk to you about overcoming this bad day, I'm going to talk to you about how I overcame bad days in my life. I'm going to talk to you about the time I was benched in college, right? The time I was fired from my job, the time I lost my mother, you know, to death, the time I lost my best friend, you know, in the world, the time, all these things that I've had to overcome in my life. I'm going to share that with them first to say, hey, look, this is a safe space. No judgment. I'm not going to judge you for saying, Coach, I just don't feel good today, right? I got a bad phone call last night. I'm just not in a great headspace. Can I just take a few minutes to myself? And I may say, hey, you know what? You're right. Go back to your apartment. You don't have to come to practice today. Go get yourself together, or go across the street to the counseling center and work on that thing. Or, hey, here's our team chaplain. Or come in my office and close the door and let's talk. Or whatever these young men need. I've always, you know, we've created this culture, particularly within the African-American community, like you said, where we're not supposed to talk about our feelings, right? Ever since we were little boys, the first time a little boy cries, what's his dad going to say? Stop crying. Stop crying. Be tough. You know, don't be a little boy. And so and with football players, we're supposed to be the biggest, the strongest, the toughest guys in the world. Well, you can't say I'm a tough guy and I cry, right? I'm a big linebacker or offensive lineman or whoever, and I'm sitting here crying because my brother just told me that he's going to go to jail for 10 years. Well, my grandmother just called and said that they found, you know, she had breast cancer. Like, if I can't cry about that, then who am I? I'm just I'm just his football player, and that's all you see me as. So we have to make these guys understand that. I tell them all the time, you're not a football player. Football is what you do. It's not who you are. And so strip that thing down that you feel like the only identity you have is running with a piece of pigskin in your arm.
Right.
You are so much more than that. And that's why I love what Coach Prime talked about putting their names in the jerseys, because you are a person who comes from a family. You are a person who reps more than just, who you are. And so all of those things, kind of tie into the piece of getting these young men to understand that this is so much bigger than football. This is life. And in life, we have to be willing to open ourselves up to find out who we truly are. And many of our young men have unfortunately been stripped of that opportunity.
You're absolutely right. I pray that this is going on in other locker rooms, because these kids, especially this generation, have so much on them. It's way more than what I wouldn't say that. I mean, it depends, it depends on the person and what's going on in their life. But I pray that it's going on in other locker rooms. And I'll be looking out for Bennett and Bell. I started following them on IG after watching the documentary, because they seem like some really good dudes.
They really are.
I'm proud of them. Coach, what do you want the viewers to what do you want them to come away with after watching Why Not Us?
I want prospective student athletes to come away with what the show is titled. Why Not Us? Right? Why not a FAMU? Why not a Jackson State? Why not an HBCU to chase your dreams? Right? You see the way we operate as a football family. You see the way our players, you see the NFL scouts that are coming through our practices. You see the fact that Marquise Bell is getting invited to All-Star games, and will probably be an NFL Combine invite, and will likely be a high draft pick in next year's draft. Right? You see the resources that we're pouring into our young men. Right? So why not consider a FAMU for your football career, or an HBCU in general? But I also want them to see again that these young men are people, right? That they're not just, again, we love to go to games and we love our football and we love to win, but how many of our fans really genuinely get to know these guys on a personal level, right? Before Bishop Bonnet was on the TV screen and you heard about his journey in Jacksonville, like how many people really say, you know what, let me go find out about this young man. I love seeing him run the football. I love the fact that he's a small guy that does a lot of really good things with the ball. I love the fact that Marquise Bell is 6'3" and hits like a freight train and all these things. But have you really tried to get to know these guys, right? And so athletes are very, very much introverted. A lot of it is because we're so guarded. Because once people saw that we could play this game, at that point it became what you can do for me. And so we all feel like everyone who comes to us, they're looking for something. And so we guard ourselves from those individuals, which prevents us from really truly being able to grow our network, because we don't really trust anyone, right? And so I want people to understand that these guys are more than just wins and losses. That when you criticize one of these players for dropping a pass or missing a tackle or missing a field goal, like that's somebody who in a year from now is going to go out and try to get a job, and you're going to turn around and ask that individual for money to donate back to the university, right? But you've been blasting him for the last 4 years about how not good of a football player he is. Right. And so I hope people understand these are not professional athletes. They're not paid.
Even though they're kids.
They're still kids. Like these are literally guys who are coming from home for the first time. My freshmen, this is the first time they've been away from home, but they're expected to go out and perform every week in front of thousands of people. And so I really just want people to just understand that in the midst of supporting them, in the midst of wanting to win, which all of that is great, and we should really try to get to know these young men and see them for more than just someone who can go out there and play good football, right? Really see them and help them grow and develop. Hey, these guys are going to have jobs one day. So if you're a person who has the ability to take a player on a field ride, I'm pretty sure if you call Coach Prime or got a hold of his administrative assistant or got a hold of my administrative assistant and say, hey, I'm a pharmaceutical sales rep. I have the ability to just take a player or an athlete on a field ride with me today. I heard you got some guys that are interested in pharmaceuticals. So just if they got time today on Monday, their day off, he can jump in the car with me, and he can go to my 5 stops to these doctor's offices just to see what we do. That would be amazing, right?
That would be amazing.
And there's so many opportunities like that we could offer our young men and women that we just don't do. And so that's what I really want people to take away, that these are still students.
Mm-hmm.
These are future leaders of tomorrow that are going to represent these institutions. And so as much as we can do for them, let's try to do so, because they pour their hearts out for these schools. When they go out there on that field of battle and put themselves in harm's way, they're doing that for FAMU. They're doing that for Jackson State. And so, love them as much as you love winning, more so than you love winning. And that's a tough thing to say to a fanatic, because that's what everyone is. But love these young men individually more than you love wins and losses. And if we can get to that place, I think we can really, really elevate these programs and these institutions to the level that we can all be proud of.
I love it. That is absolutely, I love it. I love it. Coach, before I let you go, thank you for coming on the show. I have a game that I play called You Can Get With This or You Can Get With That. What it is, it's easy, I promise you. What it is, it's just a way for me and the listeners to get to know the guests better. So I'll ask you a few questions and you choose the one that best fits you, okay? It's easy, I promise.
We'll try.
Would you prefer winning the lottery or be handed your dream job?
Handed my dream job.
Why?
I think the lottery creates a lot of laziness. I tell the players all the time, like, football ain't the lottery. You're not gonna hit the lottery in this thing. Life is not the lottery. You have to work for it. So give me my dream job and let me work to build what I want to build, because I know at that point I've earned it. I've deserved it. I don't want somebody to just give me a scratch off with a lot of money. So are you working your dream job now? Do you have your dream job? FAMU has always been one of my dream jobs.
Okay, that's awesome. Back to these shoes, sneakers or dress shoes?
Wow. What's the occasion? Oh man, that's a tough one, because I do like to get dressed up. I don't get to do it often. When we travel, game days is the only time I get to put on a suit. But I really like dress shoes. I've gotten into sneakers lately, but really because of you guys. It's because of fans. I put a pair on and everyone goes crazy. So I've kind of become a little bit of a sneakerhead, but I've always had an affinity for dress shoes. Okay, dress shoes. Would you rather lose sleep or skip a meal? I would rather skip a meal. I love my sleep. I've never had a problem. Once in my life, I've had insomnia. Other than that, I've never had a problem sleeping. I love sleep. I just don't get enough of it because I'm a football coach. I can miss a meal. I do not want to miss sleep. No, I don't want to. I'm very cranky. I'm tired. Meals. I'm hungry now. So as soon as no, I don't. I'd rather lose sleep. Brand name or generic? Oh, wow. Clothes or food, it doesn't matter. I like quality. So it doesn't matter if it's brand name or not. If it's quality, if it fits well, if it feels right, I'll wear it, and even when I wear brand name, I don't like to wear brand name stuff that has big logos on it. Right. Right. If I wear something with a brand, it's going to be hitting, I'm not going to wear something with a big logo on the chest or something like that. I'm not flashy like that. So I prefer quality over name. It doesn't matter what the brand is. So, but what about food though? Because sometimes food don't like certain, like I'm brand loyal. Now I am brand loyal to food. Yeah. Right. So I try to eat healthy. I've lost, about 20 pounds since this past summer. I'm trying to keep it off. So I have my certain select places. So if I'm gonna have a cheat day, if I want to eat a burger, I'm very, very picky. Where are you going for your burger? I'm going to Five Guys. Okay. I'm going. That's the only burger that I eat. Like I eat a Five Guys burger, and not that it's healthy. It's no, that's your cheat day. Yeah. But that's my cheat. So when it comes to food, I'm very particular about not the type of food, but where I get it from. If that makes sense. Okay. Well, when y'all come and play in Jackson, you have to, my family Stamps Burgers, they've been around for over 30 years. And when everybody comes for homecoming, that's the first stop they're making. So you got to try Stamps Burgers. I'll make that my cheat day. You'll love it. Okay, so you've done both of these. So do you prefer playing sports or coaching? Actually coaching. Coaching football now, and I see some of the hits these guys take. Oh no, I'm not doing that. Like, these guys are so big, fast, and strong now that I couldn't imagine the hits our quarterback is taking this year and gotten up. I commend him. He's a tough cookie, mentally and physically. But again, I love coaching because of what it allows me to do. Like this is my ministry. Like I get a chance every day to impact the lives of so many young men. And playing, you get to influence people because you become role models, but not on a personal level, right? Coaching is personal. It's interpersonal. It's about relationships. And so I definitely prefer coaching over playing.
Awesome. Do you prefer weekends or holidays?
I prefer weekends. We play football on Saturday. I can do without holidays. I'm very frugal. Some people even call my nickname for my growing up was cheapskate because I was so frugal. Didn't like to spend money like that. But no, I like weekends. I like to rest whenever I have a chance. I like to rest because obviously coaching takes a lot of time and energy. So my wife hates it because when we go on vacation, I'm always like, you can go sightsee. I'm going to sleep in till 10. And then, like we fall out every time we go on vacation because she wants to be like 8 in the morning and be outdoors. I'm like, we're on vacation. Like I need to rest. But I would take weekends over holidays in the day of the week. So
when you're not playing, when football is not playing on the weekends, you're just resting on the weekends, or just I'm trying to relax and or trying to spend quality time with the kids, with the family. Find something to do with the kids, take them to a park or do something fun with them. But I try my best to find those moments where I can kind of just unwind and just clear my head. I don't have a hobby, and that's probably a bad thing, but I don't golf, I don't fish, I don't hunt, I don't drink, I don't do anything that would kind of just take the load off or whatever, or free my mind. So movies would probably be my hobby. I watch a movie and get with the kids, and even if it's a Disney movie with the kids, it's. And see, I'm glad you said that because I meant to mention to you earlier. I had a golf professional on my show a couple of weeks ago. I'm getting ready to learn. You need to learn. It's good for social stuff, and you don't have to be a pro, but just. I'm too competitive though. So if I can't be a bad golfer. Right. If I'm going to play, I gotta be good at it because I'm such a competitor. So I'm going to pick it up. I actually had a guy today when I left. I went to the tournament. The guy said, I give lessons. I want to give you some lessons. And so I may take him up on that and try to get into it. But it's such a technical game. Like you have to play it all the time. And like the guys that play golf, like they're obsessed. And they're practicing their golf swings and while they're at work, they're on I got a coach who play. We're out there on the practice field. I look over there, he's practicing his golf swing. Like, hey, man, you better be coaching these. It's crazy. So I don't want to be that guy. They are upset. Well, this guy, he's a golf professional, but he teaches as well, and it's bananas. I'm like, I don't understand. I don't know. I used to play a putt, but I want to learn. I want to learn because. And I didn't play sports in school. I'm almost 6 feet, but you see who that is. That's what I did. I was trying to be cute. So I did not play. Is that you? No, that's Jane Kennedy. I was just saying. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's Jane Kennedy. I was just saying I wasn't trying to play. But I love sports because of my dad. But I don't know. I think you should pick it up. I'm a fine time. I'm a fine time after the season. Yeah. So Thanksgiving is coming up. Favorite Thanksgiving side: cornbread dressing or mac and cheese? Ooh, mac and cheese. My aunt makes that. I will only eat her mac and cheese. Really? Only eat hers. That is one of my favorite. I love dressing. Oh my gosh. Well, I like my dressing with my mac and cheese. I'm just ready for Thanksgiving. Let's put it that way. So I don't even have to have meat. I want all the carbs. Right, yeah, and that's what I'm afraid of. Like I think I'm panicking like I'm gonna gain this weight back. But no, get you a spoon of each thing. Get you a small plate. You're not gonna do it. Probably. But that's your cheat day. That's your cheat day. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to cut out like cheat days like the next month. Right. Load it up on one day. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for that. MEAC or SWAC? Oh, SWAC all the way. Okay. Good job. And who would you like to play? Last question. JSU or Alcorn?
Who would I like to play? Oh wow, that's a tough one. I cut my teeth in the SWAC at Alcorn State, and so it's always something about playing the team where you coached.
Yeah.
Coach McNair and I lived together.
Really?
While I was at Alcorn, like we literally we were roommates, and so the opportunity to play him head to head, to see him across the sideline, it would definitely be a great experience. But I got some unfinished business with Jackson State, so
look, don't come for us. Don't come for us, Coach. Now go on. You
gotta wait. We gotta wait a while. We got some unfinished business.
Look, y'all won Saturday. I was hoping y'all just go on now. Don't come for us. Coach, it has been a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much. Please tell the listeners how they can follow you on social media.
Yeah,
and how they can see Why Not Us.
Oh, no question. So you can follow me personally on Instagram and Facebook at HC as in Willie Simmons, as in head coach, HC Willie Simmons. That's Instagram, that's Twitter, Snapchat, but I don't really do Snapchat. I'm not on TikTok yet. So Facebook is just my name, Willie R. Simmons, I'm sorry. And then obviously the documentary, Why Not Us? It's a paid subscription. So ESPN Plus, you have to get an ESPN Plus subscription. 8 episodes. Again, episode 4 will be airing this Thursday, and they release one about every week. They skipped last week, but every Thursday they release a new episode. Please check it out. It's great. It's great for TV. If you love HBCUs, you'll love this documentary. It talks about the football program. It shows the band, shows Greek life. I mean, we have players who are obviously Greek, and so it's great. It's great. It really is. So check it out. Hit me up on social media. Follow me, even if you're a Jackson State fan. Follow me on social media. Again, like I said, well, at the end of the day, we're all family, and we just, like I said, we compete once a year, and I got a little time to get you guys back. But in the meantime,
don't come for us. Don't come for us, Coach. Yeah.
Y'all can't be coming to Florida. Y'all can't be coming to disrespect me in my own state. Right?
We coming back.
State.
The food was good. It was great. I had a great time, except it was so humid, like here, my hair. So, but anyway. But guys, you can follow me at She Says She Say Sports on Facebook. She Says She Say Sports 23 on Instagram. At She Says She Say 23 on Twitter. And please subscribe to our YouTube page, She Says She Say Sports. Well, until next time, this is Sonia with She Say Sports.